sometimes I'll stand back and I've just finished something, and if I'm really pleased with it, I often say, oh, that's ridiculous. And then I know that I'm I'm happy with what I've made.
I love that.
Yeah. In pursuit of the ridiculous.
Brilliance occurs.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Artfully Crafted. My name is Alienor, and each week I travel to a craft person's studio, interview them and show you their work. This week we're headed to Nottingham to meet with ceramicist Katrin Moye. Katrin and I have known each other for a while, from back when I used to work at the World of Interiors. We then have always stayed in touch. I went to see her when she took part in Collect Open at Somerset House a few years ago. And I've just always loved her work and the sort of medieval and Renaissance influences that she draws inspiration from. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button and let's get into it. Hi, Katrin.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome.
And we are here in your lovely, very unexpected studio in Nottingham, because from the outside you wouldn't be able to tell that you're here.
No, I mean this street was a row of shops until I don't know, in the 70s, 80s they changed. This is why there are big windows, because it used to be a shop, and the other potter on the corner, he is in the old butcher's shop, and this was the printing one. Yeah. So, but I didn't know the street, obviously, when it was like that, because we only moved to the area after it all changed.
So how long have you been in this studio?
About 15 years, and I inherited it from another potter who was a friend. She used to work for me part-time, and she was moving on, and she just let me know. At the time when my garden shed was getting very small for me. So it was perfect timing, really.
For anyone who is watching and who's never seen your work before, how would you sort of introduce it?
I would introduce it by saying that I come at my work from an art history angle, and I'm very, very interested in historical earthenware, decorated earthenware from Europe, around, say, from 1400 to 1800, that period of time. I've been very motivated to recreate Delftware in a slightly updated way for several years, and now I've moved on to Renaissance Maiolica, which is the same kind of idea, which is tin-glazed earthenware and decorated. So
All
that's
words that get me very excited. That sounds like a Renaissance Maiolica. Oh my God, this is amazing. So what sort of techniques do you use in your work?
So I'm not doing the actual traditional tin glazing in my work. I've evolved this method over many years, which I've used. It's the same method that I've used for the last 20 years, which is I make the shape either on the wheel or hand building out of earthenware clay. Then I wait for it to harden enough that it's handleable, dip it or paint it in white slip, and then I decorate with coloured slip and underglaze on top before I've fired the pot. Then it gets put in the biscuit firing, and then I dip it in a transparent, shiny glaze, and then fire it again. So it's not actually tin glazed.
So this was thrown.
This was thrown.
Was this one hand built or thrown partly?
So this was thrown and altered while it was wet. So I got the ferrule of a paintbrush and pushed in while it was wet still on the wheel, and then I do this with my finger, and then I do.
Ah.
So then I do this and then opposite.
So you're throwing a ball and then hand shaping it, and then the feet, I presume, were done separately and
yes, they were
together?
hand built and then attached. Yes.
That's really cool. And then this one would have been turned afterwards?
Yeah, that would have been turned, and the foot ring was added afterwards.
Fantastic. And then that sort of built up glazing process. There's sgraffito technique as well?
That's right. Yes, I do a lot of that, sgraffito drawing, and then basically like colouring in with my underglazes.
How would you explain sgraffito? I'm trying to think, because I don't think I've covered this on the channel before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a sharp tool. I use a potter's needle, and you scrape your design gently through the white slip. So this is specifically for slipware, actually, this sgraffito technique. You don't see this so much on tin-glazed Maiolica.
Okay.
So I think the tin glaze goes on after the biscuit fires happened. So sgraffito, I think, has to happen before it's been fired, so that you can.
Oh, so
put
you
your
haven't done
line
any
into the
firing?
Haven't done any firing.
Oh, I always assumed that you did a bisque firing, and then you did a glaze, and then you scratched away that top layer.
No, so sgraffito is found on a lot of slipware from Devon.
Yeah.
And that would have happened at the freshly made stage. And you wait for it to harden up, of course, and so that you're not going to damage the wet surface. But yeah.
That's great.
So it's just basically I've taught myself. So I'm not doing anything correctly. I'm just working it out as I go along. And
I mean, yes, you've taught yourself, but you also because you did an art foundation, right? And you did ceramics as part of that.
yes, I did, at Hastings College of Art and Technology. And there was a lovely, lovely ceramics tutor who just let me get on with it.
And that was really throwing, right, at that point. Do you feel like you were as developed with the decoration side of things? Like, were you experimenting with graffiti at that point?
No, not at all. It was basically trying to get my head around throwing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you did, I'm sort of trying to give just a sense of a chronology. So you did that, but then you went to do an academic degree in English literature and art history, right?
Yes, at Nottingham University. Yeah.
And then it was only sort of later you then sort of had a first sort of career, etc. But you then went back and did, was it a BTEC?
That's right. Yeah. When my oldest was a baby, we were in London.
Yeah.
And
what was the BTEC?
Oh,
at
what was it?
College, right?
It was at Morley College.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called, but it was more about setting up and running a ceramic studio as opposed to learning the process. Although it was 2 days a week, we were set projects like make something in the style of Iznik pottery and
fine,
or make a batch of mugs. We were given little projects like that, but the overriding thing was, this is how to set up a studio. This is what you need. And that was definitely a big element of that course, which really helped, because when we moved back to Nottingham from London a couple of years later, the money that we saved from that move, because house prices are so different here, I was able to set up my studio.
But I see what you mean. So you've sort of had like input and learning opportunities at different points, but it's not been a sort of like a ceramic apprenticeship of here's how you do it and I'm going to teach you these techniques. It's sort of been quite a sort of like open approach, right? And so you've sort of picked up different techniques that you wanted to learn and that you've sort of experimented with as time has gone on, right? And sort of led by your art historical research almost. Yeah.
So I often will see a example of historic ceramics in a museum or a collection, and I get really, really excited. and my first instinct is, oh, I wonder how I could make one of those. And I did, so I've made a puzzle jug based on one that I saw in Amsterdam in an antique shop. And that was so fun to work out how that was made and to make one of my own. And
so you're almost working backwards in a way. You see something that you love and you think, oh, I'd like to make that. And then you sort of research, okay, how do you make that piece, and sort of work from there, right?
Yeah, I've recently had a bit of a diversion into the relief sculptures of the Della Robbia dynasty. And I've had a go at making a couple of roundels, wall panels with those, iconic fruit and flower frames. And that was a big problem-solving exercise that took me a long time to work out. But I really enjoy that problem-solving process. Yeah. It's a bit of an engineering kind of a... So when I'm making 3-tier tulipiers, I just had to work it out as I went along.
And essentially, because I feel like, well, your journey to ceramics hasn't been linear, right? I mean, you said to me that sort of off camera, you said, oh, your art foundation when you were throwing.
Yeah.
At that point, no one sort of said to you, oh, you can do ceramics for a living. That can be a career. And it wasn't until you visited, I think it was Hatfield House, that you said you had that realization of, oh, actually there are people out there who are doing this as a practice.
Yeah.
At what point, that was much later on, right, that visit to Hatfield House?
That was when I was at Morley College. And I overheard one of the other students saying, oh, I sold a plate the other day. And I went, really? You sold it? And then some of the students at Morley College went on a group trip to the ceramics fair at Hatfield House. I think it still happens.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
I think it's July, August. Yeah. And then there was this whole massive marquee full of potters. And I walked around, had that eureka moment. I want to do that. Yeah, so that became my aim. That was in 2000, 25 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
And so basically at that point, did you, because I feel that now, I mean, you talk about sort of responding to art history and to examples of works that you see that really resonate with you. Was your practice like that from the get-go, or were you sort of making more domestic sort of decorative pieces?
It was definitely domestic.
Yeah?
Yeah, because of my background in throwing. That was what really, really interested me, was throwing. I still love throwing, actually. It's where I'm really comfortable with. And one of the little projects at Morley College was make a batch of mugs and try and make them as similar to each other as possible. And the challenge of that. And then I
see what you mean now about how they're trying to help you set up a practice. Because of course that sort of sense of repetition and precision and consistency, that's really important if you're wanting to be commercial and making for galleries and stuff.
Yeah. And I've got one of those mugs in the kitchen here, actually. But I was really pleased with the set of mugs that I'd made.
Yeah.
So that's what I started by doing. It was small batches of domestic ware.
At one point you even had a team, right?
Yes.
Did you enjoy that?
Up to a point I did, but I couldn't really concentrate properly on developing my own work because there was just too much going on. It's not a huge space.
Yeah,
so we were all
kind of on
top
managing people as opposed to the creative side, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's almost like a growing pain with any sort of creative practice. Is there's a point at which when you're trying to grow where you have to almost dedicate quite a lot of time and effort to the actual business side of things before you're sort of able to reclaim the creative side, and that's quite a it's you kind of have to work out for yourself, don't you, whether that gels with your personality or whether that's just not your priority, right?
I think that is a point that will be recognisable to lots of makers, that you get to that point where you have to decide either I'm going to make this really commercially successful.
Yeah.
And then you have to size up quite exponentially to make it viable. I'm paying wages. I've got orders more than I can deal with. So I have to have people to help me, but I've got to pay their wages. And you get busier and busier and busier, but you realise that the income is staying the same because it's all going on the overheads.
Yes.
And to get over that, you'd have to size up to 4 times or something, and then become Emma Bridgewater or something like that.
Yeah.
Or you go to Warwick University to a business mentor, he takes you through the figures, you go and sit in your car in the car park and burst into tears, and then you decide that it's not working and you want to be on your own making things.
Is that what happened?
Yes, yeah, it really, he said, haven't you ever worked this out, how much something costs to make, overheads wise? And no, I hadn't. So that realisation, although it was really upsetting at the time,
Well, as in
was very
upsetting
helpful.
in the sense that he made you realise that you were underpricing things, or?
I would either have to price things at a point that would be unreachable for a lot of people and look ridiculous to people buying batch produced mugs.
Right.
Or something would have to change. And that's when I decided, because I'd never done the sums and I didn't really, Yeah.
That is really difficult. I think pricing is always a thing. I have this conversation. It's funny now because with the...
makers, they're not business people as a general rule, I don't think.
It's
It's
rare.
a creative industry, right? So you're not going to have someone fresh out of business school coming and doing embroidery for a living, are you? So
It's, I think to have the mind for both is a rare combination for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the way I do it is I give myself a day rate and then that covers everything. Yeah.
But you've mentioned someone else to me who's also offered you business advice over time and sort of been a good mentor.
Yes, she was more of a creative mentor than a business.
Who's that?
Her name's Kate Stoddart.
Oh yes, okay. Yeah.
And our kids just happened to go to the same primary school, so.
Oh, awesome.
And she lived in the area.
And so you've had a couple again of sort of inflection points where she sort of helped your direction, right?
She really did, yes. Yeah, she could see, because we knew each other, she could see what was happening. So, yeah, she really helped me to negotiate my way through various issues that I was having at the time. And she suggested that I went to the City Lit back in 2015, I think it was, 2015, 16, something like that. And at the time they ran a course called Developing Practice for Makers. And that was about sort of 12 years into me working as a ceramics practitioner. And I was really ready to get off the hamster wheel of making for orders and never having any time to work on ideas that I was excited about, for example.
Right.
So developing practice for makers was brilliant. It was one Saturday a month for a year. And there were 3 tutors. There was Kate Stoddart, who was very much this is how you approach a museum if you want to propose a project, or this is what you do to take it. This is what you have to take into consideration when you're applying for funding, and that kind of side of it. Then Caroline Bartlett, who's a textile artist, and she gave us creative development exercises to do. So think about this idea and make collage, and it was a bit therapy as well. So she was because it was all about moving you on from the place that you're at for mid-career makers. And then there was, I can't remember what his name was, but he did, every now and again he'd come in and we'd spend the day with him and he'd talk about critical theory, and I absolutely loved that bit of it. And I did actually think I should do a postgrad in critical theory for a while because I was so excited about all these ideas that he was talking about. So, but the combination of those three people doing those three different things really helped me to decide and come to the point where I knew what I wanted to do.
The other thing that Kate Stoddart had recommended was funding from, like applying for the Art Council, right?
Oh, that was prior to that. Yeah, that was 2011, and she and I were talking in the playground, and she said, "I think you're probably ready for a creative development."
It's interesting that selection of words you're ready for. Do you feel like you were?
I was beyond ready by that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because so what was it that kind of, so that was at the end of that period of you making more sort of like domestic sort of, not production line, but as you say, you had a team and you were sort of, making things based on orders, etc. And then
I went to Warwick and spoke to the business advisor.
And then you had the Art Council.
And then I had the Arts Council.
And so that was that change of direction.
Yes.
More sort of project focused work, maybe?
That all happened at around the same time. So then I had a year of not needing to make for orders, to step back and decide what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like since then you've had a real like sort of flourishing. There's been different phases of your work, but they really do build up. You know, they're again sort of art history led. Right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, the Maiolica, there's the whole menopause series that we'll obviously talk about.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like the different phases. You did have a phase that was very floral.
Yes, that was what came out of that creative development period in 2011.
Yeah.
I pushed my decorating techniques as far as I could. But it was all very it was 100% decorative, so I wasn't talking about anything.
Right.
And that was what was missing for me, was that element. There wasn't much of me going into my work then. So, I mean, it looked pretty and it was popular and it sold really well, but there wasn't anything else beyond that, really. So.
Oh, I'm starting to see that evolution actually, because then you had the Lakeside Art Centre residency, right?
Yes.
And that was you putting others into your work, and then we get to the menopause where you're putting yourself finally into your work. So there's that evolution. Shall we talk about the Lakeside Art Centre?
That happened in 2017, so that was quite soon after the City Lit course, when I knew that helped me to arrive at the realisation that what I really want to do is to investigate my interest in literary theory and things from home was the project I worked on at Lakeside, and I worked with a group of international students.
I think I've got their photo in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lovely group shot somewhere. There they are.
So that was all... You were responding to things they missed from home,
yes,
right?
As a three-dimensional demonstration of a literary theory that is called reader response.
And that, I think that's where we're really starting to see your English literature, art history backgrounds, the ceramics, all of that is sort of starting to really come together, because it's, I mean, this really perfectly summarises it, doesn't it?
Yes. Well, that's a direct quote from the student. So I would interview the individual students with a notebook and I'd write down word for word what they said. I don't know why I didn't record them, but I wrote anyway. I wrote in a book, and they would tell me about something that they'd left at home that they couldn't bring physically to this country and that they missed. And so a lot of them were talking about food. Food was a big theme. Food, pets, family members. They couldn't find those things here. And
this one was actually acquired by
the Oriental Museum in Durham, because the exhibition went there after it was at Lakeside. But when they were talking to me, I asked them not to show me any photos. because this was the demonstration of reader response, which contends that no two people read the same text in the same way because they bring so much of themselves to a text. So their own associations, memories, personality is. So the thing about reader response is a book is a pile of wood pulp and ink until a reader opens it and starts to read. Then it becomes a narrative because it all happens here. So, and it's a kind of a shared thing. So the author doesn't own the text. The author and the reader make that text happen. And I really love that idea from quite a socialist point of view, I think, really, because, you know, it doesn't belong to the hierarchy of author-reader.
No.
It's author and reader together making something.
Almost
So
like a
together
collaboration.
I was in collaboration with these students. And sometimes I found it terrifically funny what I'd made because I'd got it so wrong. Because I don't know really much about Chinese food.
Yeah.
So I was imagining somebody said the noodles are as big as a waist belt. So I literally made a flat, like a belt, but to look like a noodle. And he thought it was hysterical when he saw it. So. Yeah, and it was really good fun, that project.
Yeah, it's a marvellous thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the writer in residence at Nottingham University, John McGregor, who is a mutual friend of a really lovely friend of mine, she introduced us and he came to see me and we talked about this project. And then he said, I'm going to introduce you to Patrick Wildgust, who is the custodian of Shandy Hall, where Lawrence Stern wrote The Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy, which has become my lodestar of how to approach ideas and history, because that book was just so influential on me because of the way he discusses ideas and history, but in a very light-hearted, confiding, humorous way. So
we're also starting to see a pattern of sort of like human connections as well, which I think is more and more part of how you approach all of these different projects, right? It's sort of one connection leads to another.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm making one thing and then it makes me think, oh, I could do that. And then that leads on to something else. It's like the continuous opening of a flower, petals, like that.
And even in terms of coming across different patrons, because I think when obviously can't reveal any names, but you know, I'm aware that you have some, you know, well-known names. You are patrons of your work, but they approach you in response to an exhibition or to something that they've seen. And then that creates a new dialogue. And I think that's a really interesting thing because you're still holding the creative process, but someone has found something that they like about your work and maybe they're opening up the narrative to something else and pointing it in a new direction, right? Yeah,
definitely. Although I wouldn't want to be led too much by them, so it has to be right.
Yeah.
So the one I've got now, which is I'm at the start of a 3-year project for a patron, which is vanishingly rare and extremely lucky for me. But what she responded to in my work was the Italian Renaissance Maiolica side of it and the humour. So perfect for me. It's a perfect match. And she's been very vague about what she wants, actually. So she's not being prescriptive at all, which is, to start with, I was a bit confused, and I don't know what she wants. I don't know if I'm going to make her what she wants if she's being so reticent about telling me, because I've only ever really worked to commissions for specific objects before.
I see.
And this is the first one I've got where it's not prescribed. It's, can you make something based on my mother's side of the family? And that's the only direction I've had.
Do you think that's almost because she wants to see how you're going to interpret it and she wants to see where you go with it, and she's maybe seen enough of your work that she likes maybe your approach generally and therefore sort of trusts you with it?
She has overtly said that, that she likes my humour, lightheartedness, and the connection with something that she's familiar with because she's Italian, the Maiolica. And she said she did a double take when she saw my work at Collect, that, oh, that's Renaissance Maiolica. No, it's not. And then, so that's what, and I think possibly not being Italian has given me the freedom to have a bit of fun with it in a way that if I was Italian and I was in that tradition, I think I might feel a little bit scared to tread on those toes of my forebears.
Yes.
Because I've been...
It'd be the weight of responsibility,
there would be,
right?
yeah, that respect that you have for the tradition that you're in kind of prevents you from being light-hearted with it. Mm-hmm. And although I'm really, really worried about cultural appropriation, I'm European, right? So
well, it's one of those things.
I'm half German, so I'm not, from anywhere really.
But it is a tricky thing, isn't it? Because cultural appropriation is a bad thing. But at the same time, to have a dialogue that's to allow a dialogue to be open enough, outside perspectives and viewpoints are important too. So there's a fine balance, and I think it's being respectful and knowing that you're not speaking from a place of authority, but at the same time you can respond to it. I think it's it's a tricky thing, but
I mean, and I think I hope that my absolute love for Maiolica comes through in my work, because I adore it, and I want to celebrate it by recreating things rather than going so far down my own way with it that I lose the connection.
So again, you seem to be working in sort of project seasons, I guess, where you have you have sort of a sort of sense of renewal every once in a while, where you sort of something gets under your skin and you want to work with it. And I feel that Collect was sort of that catalyst a little bit, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It was a really big turning point for me doing Collect.
The majority of Collect is with galleries.
Yeah.
But then there's a small part of Collect called Collect Open, where a few artists can basically apply to take a stand on their own, not as part of a gallery. And so that's what you did.
That's what I did.
And it's a big financial risk, I think,
yes,
as a maker.
Yeah.
They've actually just introduced bursaries. So there's now the option to apply for a bursary alongside applying for Collect Open, but that's a very, very new thing.
Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah.
Because up until last year, it's basically, I think, the majority of people, I think, say, if you're already London-based and your work is sort of small enough that you can carry it, it's probably, you'll spend sort of around £5,000.
Yeah, but
if you're outside and you're having to pay for transport for your work, then
it's double.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, prevents so many people that could have it could move their career on, but it precludes them from even applying if, that commitment, that financial commitment, you can't make it, then that's such a shame. So luckily for me, my mum said that she'd lend me the money to do it. So
that's brilliant.
Isn't that lovely? Thanks, Mum.
With the benefit of hindsight, what would you say Collect has done for your career?
The main thing that Collect did for my career was that the 16 to 1800 ceramics curator at the V&A saw it, and he became my advocate, and the V&A acquired one of the pieces that I had. And I've got an ongoing relationship with the V&A, which is absolutely lovely. So that curator has introduced me to various other people and made things happen. And they made a film of me this time last year, which is on YouTube.
I'll link that below as well.
Okay.
It's a brilliant one,
Yeah, and
that's such an amazing milestone. I think any artist, if you ask them what's, top, whatever, at the top of their wish list, that would be having work acquired by the V&A, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can retire now.
I remember you saying this to me at the time.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah. It's because during the time that I was making the work, I was visiting the Courtauld over the way from Somerset House. They've got an absolutely beautiful collection of Maiolica. So I got to know those pieces quite well. Some of them, 2 or 3 of them, are very heavily influencing 2 or 3 of the pieces that I made. And you can see that they're, my version of that thing in there. And so I emailed the art history, head of art history at the Courtauld, and she put me onto a curator who at the time was putting together the catalogue of Maiolica at the Courtauld. And I thought, that name's familiar, Elisa Sani. Didn't she write that book that's my Bible, which is Italian Renaissance Maiolica at the V&A? It's her. Oh my God, it's her. And and since then we've met. She's absolutely lovely, and she's been such a good person for me. We've become friends, but we do a lot together.
So she's gone from being someone on your bookshelf to someone on your WhatsApp.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And then she's introduced me to quite a few people that have had a... So now I feel if I have got a question about a specific thing, about a jug or some material culture question, I know who to ask, and that's great.
And I love that as well, because it's, the Courtauld is literally opposite. It's like the mirror to where you were exhibiting within Somerset House.
Yeah.
So it's in direct conversation in a way.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And then they subsequently actually invited you to speak from the perspective of the maker, right? It's such a powerful relationship that museums can have with contemporary makers. To just have that synergy is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to get out there and go and see things, I think, which is, for a long time, I had to really justify that to myself. Because if I wasn't in here producing things, I thought I'm wasting my time. But actually, it's so important to get out. And I've spent most of last week in London, and I've come back so full of excitement and ideas and new avenues that I can go down that just wouldn't have happened if I hadn't gone down there. So
yeah, it's a fine balance, isn't it? Just like trying to get that exposure to new ideas, but then also allowing yourself the time to play with it and sit with it. And for me, that was such a beautiful and unexpected transition, because I was familiar, so we've known each other for a few years, and I first came across your work and got to know you when you were at the sort of floral stage and decorative stage of your practice.
Yeah.
And then I don't think we'd seen each other for a year when you invited me to see you during Collect Open. And I walked in, and it was these 6 amazing, really large pieces on plinths. And they were sort of like at eye level. And I just remember being like, just gobsmacked, because it was just so, unexpected. And, I could tell that you'd gone bigger, bolder. And then, of course, for the narrative of menopause.
Yes.
Which, that's the bit where you put yourself into, you were reflecting on your life experiences, right? That's quite a raw, vulnerable thing to do.
It did feel quite exposing, because obviously 50% of the population will have or have had or are having the menopause. Yeah. So, and everybody's experience is different. So what I was really conscious of was not speaking on behalf of people. I needed to keep it my experience. So each of those 6 vases, vessels, were about an aspect of what I'd experienced, rather than saying this is what menopause is for everybody. But actually, people responded. I basically spent a week being an impromptu drop-in centre for people to tell me about their experiences, which was great, because we'd have these really intense conversations about various menopause-related subjects, and it wasn't small talk at all. It was really personal, and I was kind of in the corner of this big room.
Yeah.
And so it did feel like I'd kind of unstoppered a bottle, and all of these stories came pouring out of people, like they were really glad to have the opportunity to talk about it in a non-medical setting and with somebody that was obviously open to hearing it.
Yes.
And that was completely
and
unexpected.
Wasn't judging, and
yeah, exactly.
Who had a sense of humour about it.
Yeah, and let's get rid of the taboo of talking
Yeah.
about it, because it's in my mum's generation. She didn't say a single word about what she was going through while she was going through the menopause. She had a horrible time. I had no idea.
Well, see, actually,
and that's awful.
I remember thinking that when I saw your work, is I realised that I, as a young woman, had no idea about what, like, the symptoms. I knew some of them, but actually reading about your work and looking at all the symbolism, etc., I realised I was learning about menopause, and I was like, why am I learning about this here? I should know about this already.
Yeah.
And then it made me think, but how would I have learnt about it? It would either be at school, which I don't remember menopause being taught on any kind of curriculum.
Yeah.
And then, or you would learn about it at home. And then that's when I realised there must be such a taboo that my stepmom had never, or my mum had never told me about it. You know, that they clearly felt it wasn't a topic they could be open about.
Not even to each other.
Yeah.
In private amongst each other.
Which is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
and
I just felt so aware, like, how do I not know when I'm future me?
Yeah. Do you know, I've heard
involved.
so many people have said, I thought I was having a nervous breakdown, or I thought I was having mental health problems. And then I went to the doctor and was prescribed antidepressants. That misdiagnosis was, I mean, I think there's been a sea change, actually, which I'm part of.
Yeah.
Because I am part of the third wave feminist generation. Mm-hmm. So people like Davina McCall and, I can't think off the top of my head, but those people that have a platform are part of that wave of people, women that have a voice for the first time, and they're going through it. So obviously they're going to talk about what they're going through. So this is why there's been a big bursting open of the taboo. Yeah, because of that.
I remember you saying, actually, sort of circling back to Vivienne, I remember you saying to me at the time that one of the reasons, obviously they loved the fact that you were responding and engaging with art history, but they also realised that actually menopause was a gap in their collection, right?
Yeah.
That they didn't have that many works that were engaging or responding to the topic of menopause.
Yeah.
And they realised that was really important.
Yeah, the curator said they have one piece about the menopause, and now they've got two. So that's great. It's a start, isn't it?
Yeah. One woman mission to raise awareness about menopause at Somerset House. I love it.
Yeah. But
and then sort of more recent work, you realised that actually emojis are sort of like the modern, they are the modern day symbolism, and so you're responding to that. And
yes, by putting a emoji onto a recognisably Renaissance era Maiolica style shape, I'm making that connection with. So in the Renaissance, we're talking about 1490 to 1600, that kind of time. The vast majority of the population were illiterate, but they all knew how to read a painting, symbols. That's hence shop signs and all that kind of thing. But in a church, when you go to a church and you see a painting of a saint, you know exactly which saint you're looking at because of the accoutrements that accompany that saint in the painting. And everybody would have been really conversant with those symbols. So these are the exact equivalent of that. So I think that is a really nice way into art history, if you can connect it with something that you're familiar with today.
Yeah.
Rather than it being kind of a dusty old ancient thing that you don't have any kind of connection with. If you can make that connection. Because all things were new once, weren't they?
Yeah.
So you see a picture of a noble lady from 1300.
Yeah.
She's wearing her equivalent of a posh frock from, I don't know where, Karen Millen.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're wanting to sort of invite people to engage with art history through humour, essentially, right?
Yeah, not only humour, but that helps with delivering a message in a way that's not top down. It's more talking across to and with people. It's inviting them to join the conversation rather than being an expert in this subject and delivering a lecture. I'm inviting people to look at the connections that we have with our equivalents in the past.
Yes, I think it's something that I'm sort of starting to realise is I have so much knowledge, I guess, and I don't even have that much knowledge, but I already have too much knowledge about art history to be able to like walk into a museum really with that experience of fresh eyes. You know what I mean? I just bring already too much knowledge with me for me to truly have that experience of what it would be if I was a child walking into a museum for the first time, for example.
Yeah.
Like I'm just disconnected from that experience. And so I think it's really interesting because then you're thinking about, say curator of a museum, to get to that stage of having enough like knowledge accrued to get to the position of being a curator, you're then the one who's curating for the public, but you're already so far removed from what it is to come at something with no understanding.
Yeah, you can't really think yourself out of that.
No, it's impossible. So how do you make it approachable? Which I feel that you're doing that.
Well, that is my aim, and I feel really strongly about that, actually. That, we all own our cultural history, but only some of us feel able to have an opinion about it or look at it and feel like it is ours, but it does belong to all of us. So how does a institution like the V&A present their collection in a way that shares it with everybody, rather than people that would even cross their mind to go to the V&A? It's not everybody, so it's really difficult to kind of cross that barrier. And I'm hoping, my experience of reading Tristram Shandy, which was talking about quite modern philosophical ideas and science, the new scientific approach we're talking about 1759. So cause and effect was a big new concept, and so he describes some quite kind of sophisticated ideas, but in a way where his conduits were Tristram and his uncle Toby just bumbling around being idiots and demonstrating cause and effect by having a terrible accident with a sash window and that kind of thing. And it's like, oh, I've learnt something, but I've been laughing, so I don't feel lectured at or talked down to, and I'm engaged because I'm laughing. And that, I mean, it's not all about humour, but it's a really good way of sharing knowledge and making people feel like they've been included and they're part of the party kind of thing.
Yeah, it's finding that balance, as you say, without it being condescending, but at the same time making it more approachable. It's a really hard balance to strike, isn't it?
And I don't want to be like dumbing it down or anything, but
because that doesn't make people feel good either.
No, exactly. So there is quite a fine line, and also to make it look nice. That helps.
Yes. Yeah, because you don't want it to be at the detriment of the aesthetic, right?
God no.
You're still trying to make a beautiful, beautiful object. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I've got a checklist actually.
Oh.
Which is a quote that I read from Laurie Anderson.
Oh yeah.
On Facebook, and it's really useful for me because is it complicated enough?
Yeah.
Is it simple enough? Is it crazy enough? Is it beautiful enough? Is it stupid enough? And yes. Oh, then I've done it. Yeah. Sometimes I'll stand back and I've just finished something, and if I'm really pleased with it, I often say, oh, that's ridiculous. And then I know that I'm I'm happy with what I've made.
I love that.
Yeah. In pursuit of the ridiculous.
Brilliance occurs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it went down well, so.
And so what do you think is next for you? I mean, because I'm sort of looking at it from the perspective of you've done Collect, you've had the funding from the Arts Council, you've done solo show, you've been acquired by the V&A. Like, it's almost, as you say, like, oh, I just retire, but not
put
really.
my feet up.
Yeah. But you're very passionate again about about working with museums, right? Is that?
Yes. That is what I would like to continue doing, really, is working with historical objects and reinterpreting them, or drawing the connection between history and now in that way, and inviting people to join the party. Yeah, so that.
So if you were to allow yourself to dream like the biggest that you've ever dreamed, what's on the horizon?
Oh, I'd love to have a residency at a museum one day. That would be great. Then I could properly immerse into that world, yeah. I have got a plan with a couple of the art historians that we're working on together, but it's too early to talk about it really yet.
Yeah.
But there is something exciting in the pipeline.
Brewing.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Great. Well, let's leave it as that.
Okay.
And, yeah, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your enthusiasm and, yeah, the colourful world of Maiolica.
Thank you very much. It's been lovely to have you.
I've linked Katrin's website below, as well as other things that we mentioned in conversation. If you have any questions for her about ceramics or about her sources of inspiration in historical design, please leave a comment and we'll do our best to answer them. Thank you for watching. It means a lot, especially as at the moment this channel is entirely self-funded. So please spread the word. Like, share and subscribe. See you next week. Being able to look at hindsight now, there's what has it done? Sorry, oh my God, I've said that so badly. I'm going to redo that.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh.